No, I said that I don't need any more guitars, but yeah. Welcome, metalheads. I'm the host of Heavy Metal Philosophy and writer for Metal Digest, John Barbas. Make sure you stick around to the end of the episode for this week's riff of the week. Check it out, y'all. Jericho Guitars hooked me up with this 7-string. Between me buying this Walnut Fusion Evertune from Jericho last year and then putting out an episode of the podcast talking about the debacle that went down with me getting the guitar in my hands, and I think maybe Jericho just needed to move some inventory, they contacted me and gave me a steep discount on a Fusion 7-string ignition. I couldn't say no. In my review that I published on that Walnut Evertune Fusion, I said that the bottom line when it comes to reviewing guitars is, would I buy it again? Would I recommend it to you all? And ultimately, I love that Walnut Fusion so much. It is now my favorite guitar that I own, so I highly recommended it. And I also said that I don't need any more guitars, so for the sake of the review, I would say that I would buy another Jericho, but I've got so many guitars, I don't need any other guitars. But I did say, well, I don't have a 7-string, and now look at this beauty. Let me tell you all about it. Well, first and foremost, when you're reviewing a guitar, the most important thing is, how does it sound and how does it play? It's excellent. This might be the best action I've ever had on a guitar straight out of the box. Normally with brand new guitars, there's normally always some minor adjustment that I have to make to get the action where I want it so that it plays the way I want to play it. But this one is perfect right out of the box. And I thought maybe I would have to make some adjustments to my own playing, because I've never played a 7-string before. I was wondering, like, okay, I've got to reach for that 7th string. Am I going to have to change my standard positioning when I play? Nope. It feels completely natural in my hand. Even with the 7th string, I can reach all of it. And I think that's largely thanks to how thin this neck is. This neck feels amazing. And it looks amazing too. I love this matte black finish. It looks so nice, and I especially love this binding that wraps around the guitar. Most of the times when a blacked out guitar, it just doesn't pop, but when you get this nice binding, it makes the guitar pop. You need some sort of an accent on an all black guitar for it to stand out, and this just looks so nice, so pristine. I love the way that looks. I love the textured knobs here. Each knob, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, has these 3 rings embossed around the knob. So you get this tactile feel when you're making adjustments with the knobs. It's just fantastic. It's not all praise though. I do have a few cons, but before we get to the cons, let me just praise a couple more things before we go negative. Just like my Walnut Fusion, this one has these awesome locking tuners on it, and once you get past the initial string stretching phase, it hardly ever goes out of tune. It takes a long time for it to go out of tune, and believe me, I beat the hell out of this thing when I got it out of the box, and it stays in tune. I absolutely love it. I love this cutaway here that allows me to reach all of the highest frets. I absolutely love this subtle contour on the body. It's not flat like a lot of Jacksons are just flat on the top. This has got this nice little contour on it, which makes it look kind of elegant. I just am in love with the look of that. But I do have a few cons. First up, and probably most importantly for my style of playing, is there's no neck pickup on this guitar. If you're only going to djent with this guitar, then you really only need the bridge pickup. But if I'm playing leads, sometimes I want that fat, warm tone that only comes when you just turn the neck pickup on. Or when I'm playing cleans, most of the time I want just the neck pickup on. And then I can switch down to the bridge pickup for the nice chunky and screamy parts. But it's not an option here. You only got one pickup. Really perplexes me that a guitar with only one pickup has a pickup selector. What does this do? I thought maybe this would switch the one pickup that it does have from passive to active. I thought maybe that's what this was. So I opened up the access port on the back, which, by the way, these access ports are lovely, but there's no connection for a battery. So that can't be it. It can't be that it's either on off for the active pickup. I guess maybe you could use it in a live setting as just an off switch. Maybe you could do that, but that's about the only function for this pickup selector that I can think of. I also need to talk about the way the guitar is set up straight from the factory. There is an issue there. Now, as I said, this is my second guitar that I've gotten from Jericho. So now I know it's not a fluke. This is just the way that they do things. They just don't leave any slop in the strings when they set it up. The moment I got both of my guitars from Jericho and touched the tuning keys, as soon as I touched the tuning keys, strings just fell out of the pegs because there wasn't enough excess left on the string when they put it in here. They put it in here, they trimmed off the ends of the string here, and there just wasn't enough left over so that when you touch the tuning keys, the strings just fell out. There wasn't enough wrap around the tuning keys. So if you're going to buy a guitar from Jericho, make sure you have a pair of strings, a set of strings on hand, because you're going to need them. You can absolutely forget about down tuning your guitar from Jericho until you replace the strings. When I set my guitars up, I prefer for the strings to wrap around the peg at least once, if not twice. But both times I got a guitar from Jericho, there was no wrap around the peg. It's like they just put the string through the hole, tuned it to standard with as few turns as possible, and then cut the strings off at the nub so that there's absolutely zero excess. And last time, it wasn't really a big deal because my Walnut is a 6-string guitar, and I always keep several packs of strings on hand just in case. But as I said, this is my first ever 7-string guitar. I didn't have a pack of 7 strings in the house, so I had to drive all the way to town to get another pack of strings before I could play my brand new guitar. Just make sure if you order a guitar that you also buy a pack of strings and have them on hand when the guitar arrives. And lastly, my biggest issue with Jericho isn't really even a problem with Jericho per se. It's not really their fault. Jericho uses FedEx to ship their guitars, and FedEx is an absolute garbage company. If you saw my review of the Walnut Fusion, you will already know the absolute debacle I went through with FedEx to get that guitar. And this time was no different either. It was an absolute debacle. They did everything in their power to not give me my guitar. They came by 3 days in a row and didn't drive down my driveway. They just passed my house and put in their little computer that nobody was home, which is a complete lie. Everybody was home all 3 days. They never even drove their big truck down the driveway to see if anybody was home. They just straight up lied. Just like last time, dude just straight up lied. He didn't even want to bother making the attempt. So my guitar sat in his hot truck all day, then went back to the distribution center, and they probably tossed it around in there, and they did that 3 days in a row. I just shudder to think about other people's wooden instruments sitting in these trucks on these 100-degree days because these guys don't want to even make an attempt to deliver the package. I had to go through several attempts and a whole big long rigmarole with customer service on the phone to get this guy's boss to tell him to drive down the driveway and actually deliver the package. And I'm not even going to get into how bad their customer service is, how bad their website is. Just the episode would be an hour long if I went into every detail of every problem I had trying to get some help on their website and on the phone. Let's just suffice to say that if your issue with FedEx isn't the most generic, run-of-the-mill, it's in their FAQ style problem, then you're not going to get any help from their website. And it's going to be a long day on the phone trying to get any help on the phone. You're going to have to make several attempts before you ever get a human being on the phone. It is just absolute trash. But enough whining and complaining. Honestly, I had to mention the downsides if I wanted this to be an honest review. But now that the guitar is in my hands and all those problems with FedEx are out of my hair, I love this guitar. I'm so happy that I got it. If I had to do it over again, maybe I would have got another Walnut Fusion, only in the 7-string variety, so that I could have the neck pickup like I like. But if you're only going to be playing distorted, chunky riffs, I can't recommend this guitar enough. It is absolutely killer. It plays like a dream. I love this guitar, and I can't recommend it enough. Once again, I'm highly impressed with the craftsmanship of Jericho guitars. Everything is so well done. I can't complain about any aspect of the actual build quality or the sound or the playability. It's damn near perfect in those regards. But before I close the episode, I promised you a riff of the week, so let's talk about the riff of the week. Since I got my first 7-string, this week's riff of the week is going to be Demiurge by Meshuggah, which is one of my absolute favorite Meshuggah songs. But tell me what you think. What's your favorite Meshuggah song? Tell me in the comments. And what do you think about this guitar? Isn't she a beauty? Let me know. And hey, if you missed my review of my favorite guitar, my Walnut Evertune Fusion from Jericho, then I got a link for you. Just click right here if you're on YouTube, and you can hear the story of how Gibson Guitar Company and FedEx once again tried everything in their power to keep me from getting my favorite guitar, but I prevailed and Jericho prevailed. Just click right there if you're on YouTube. But most importantly, read philosophy, listen to metal. I love you.